Occasionally something happens in the world and I'm reminded on the importance of having a good understanding of economics and data literacy. Today's one of those days. A couple of years ago, it was the GameStop insanity. Last year, it was inflation in the housing market. This year, the conversations around this concept of the silent depression. This has taken over social media. All the new content creators are talking about how horrible life is today. They're making two really important claims. The first claim is that the average income today is actually lower than it was in 1930. We are living a worse life than we were living in 1930s during the Great Depression. The second claim is to support the statement is that essentials, housing, cars are actually more expensive today if you control for inflation, make that adjustment, than they were in the 1930s. I have a video, we're going to watch it together and we're going to go through these claims to try to understand what they actually get wrong, because frankly, it's just wrong.
Heard a new term on TikTok today that made me stop in my tracks.
We are living in the silent depression.
This guy believes we are not just living in worse than the Great Depression, we're living in the silent depression. The average annual income in 1930 for an American individual was a little over $4,800.
That's false. So the claim is that the average income in 1930s was a little bit over $4,800. And if you convert that into today's dollars, that's equivalent to $85,000. So that number is not accurate. That is not the average income for the individual in 1930. That is the average income for the individual that filed taxes in 1930. See, in 1930, not everybody was required to file taxes. Only the top 6% of the population, income-wise, had to file taxes. Those individuals had an average salary of $4,800. The average income in 1930 was roughly around $1,400. And if we convert that into today's dollars, that is closer to $24,000. And the average, or actually the median salary, which is the accurate measure to use, the median salary today is roughly $56,000, $57,000. So if you just look at bases of income, real income in comparison, 24,000 versus 57,000. So at the minimum, we're living at least twice as good of a life as we did in the 1930s. Just looking at income, and obviously it's more complicated than that. There's more to this, so let's watch it together.
Right now, the average annual salary is $56,000 a year. We currently are making less than the height of the Great Depression. In 1930, gas was on average 10 cents a gallon. That would be about $1.73. In case you haven't filled up your car lately, average cost of a gallon of gas is $3.55. To buy a new car in 1930 would have been about $860, worth about 15 grand. The average cost of a new car today is $48,000.
So they do the comparison and they do the conversions really well, actually. I thought they might be making some mistakes in converting $1930 to $2023, but they actually do a good job. I have how do you actually do that in more detail in my post, which is linked in the description. You can see all of the calculations that we talk about there. The claim here is that the average car price, if you convert it from $1930 to today, it should be $15,000. And the average car today, according to this data, is $48,000. So they're saying that cars are more expensive and they're not affordable. Well, if you look at price only, that's probably true. But the reality of it is the cars of 1930s versus the cars today are completely different. The quality difference is drastic. And when we make these conversions, we have to also take into consideration quality differences. So in 1930s, you didn't have AC, seat belts were not included in cars, let alone radios or navigation or any sort of amenities that we're used to today. So when making these conversions, it's really important to compare apples to apples. And they try to do that by converting the dollars into today's dollars, which is a good first step, but they did not control for differences in quality. And they do this as well with housing. So let's watch what they say about housing.
Of course, the most coveted aspect of the American dream, being able to buy a house in 1930 cost about $3,900, less than $70,000. I spend way too much time on Zillow, so maybe this isn't surprising to me, but the average price of a home in America today is $416,000. How could...
Okay, So they make the claim that the American dream is no longer affordable for Americans because of how much housing costs compared to what it was in 1930. Well, the average house has drastically changed. Square footage has gone up, the number of bedrooms, kitchen appliances are totally different, air conditioning. The amenities that we're used to today and that we get in our housing would have never been dreamt of in 1930. Once again, they do a good job of converting prices, but they neglect to understand or communicate that it's actually more complicated than that. By most measures of living standards, we're living an amazing life today compared to 1930. And as an economics professor, seeing this content and seeing that it's getting 765,000 shares or 12.8 thousand comments is really upsetting because good quality economic content doesn't get that. So if you really enjoyed this and you want to see more good quality economic content, like, share, leave a comment, and tell me how valuable this information is. At the Hale College of Business at Northern Kentucky, I take pride into teaching two main classes, Principles of Macroeconomics and Data Tools for Economists and Business Majors. In both classes, we talk about the importance of the quality of data that you use and understanding its limitations, because if you don't use quality data, you're going to create insight that is not valuable or not used in the right way. So data literacy, economic literacy is super important. These things remind me of why my job is important. Thank you for watching. If you like good quality economic data, make sure to like, subscribe, leave a comment, share it with a friend. See you all next week.